Ake gleich ja.
აქეთ არ ვждებითო და დავდგენ თქვენ ვატოს თვითონაც იძაჟდება და დავდგენ. მეგონა წინ კონტუს არის ადგილი კი. აი არადი ტრაუცია და მე რაღაც
Shall I sit here? You can take it.
Manage the expectations. მოგესალმებით. First introductory words with your permission in Georgian and then we will switch to English. ჩვენთვის დღეს დიდი პატივია რომ ყავს ესეთ საპატიო სტუმარი ბატონი ორხან ფამუკი რომელიც არის თავისუფალი უნივერსიტეტისა და ბაკურ სულაკაურის გამომცემლობის მიერ მოწვეული. დღევანდელი შეხვედრა გაგრძელდება დაახლოებით 40-45 წუთი. მცირე მისასალმებელი სიტყვები იქნება 2-3 წუთიანი, შემდეგ მცირე ასევე ცერემონია, შემდეგ იქნება ძალიან მოკლე, ასე ვთქვათ, მისი გამოსვლა და შემდეგ კითხვები. Okay. So, we would welcome you at our campus and we are delighted to host you. We both the Free University of Tbilisi and Bakur Sulakauri Publishing. So this is the audience is composed of our students and academia, as well as prominent representatives of Georgian society. We will have introductory speeches from the university side and from the publishing house side, and then very, very short ceremony, and then floor is yours. So we have to manage this part, ceremonial part in 7 to 8 minutes. Thank you.
მოგესალმებით ყველას. დღეს ჩვენთან სტუმრად იმყოფება თანამედროვეობის გამოჩენილი წერალი, ნობელის პრემიის ლაურეატი ბატონი ორხან ფამუკი. 2006 წლის 12 ოქტომბერს ბატონ ორხან ფამუკს მიენიჭა ნობელის პრემია განსაკუთრებული წვლილისათვის ლიტერატურის დარგში, შემოქმედებისათვის, რომელიც წარმოადგენს უაღრესად მნიშვნელოვან შემოქმედებას, ნაღვაწს კულტურათა დაახლოების, კულტურათა შეცნობის სფეროში. მინდა მოგახსენოთ, რომ ბატონი ორხან ფამუკის წიგნები ნათარგმნია მსოფლიოს 40-ზე მეტ ენაზე, მათ შორის ქართულადაც. სასიამოვნო მოვალეობად მიმაჩნია გითხრათ, რომ ბატონი ორხან ფამუკის ორი მნიშვნელოვანი წიგნი არის ნათარგმნი ქართულ ენაზე თურქულიდან ჩვენი უნივერსიტეტის, თავისუფალი უნივერსიტეტის პროფესორის ქალბატონ ლია ჩლაიძის მიერ. ასევე არაერთი ნაწარმოები ითარგმნა ორხან ფამუკის ქართულ ენაზე და შემიძლია ვთქვა, რომ იგი გახლავთ საქართველოში ერთ-ერთი ყველაზე პოპულარული მწერალი, რომელიც იკითხება გამუდმებით. გამომდინარე აქედან, მე მინდა მივესალმო მას თავისუფალი და აგრარული უნივერსიტეტების სახელით და მივესალმო თქვენი სახელით და გადმოგცეთ ბატონი ორხანის განსაკუთრებული დამოკიდებულება ჩვენი ქვეყნისადმი, ჩვენი ორი უნივერსიტეტისადმი და საერთოდ ჩვენი ქვეყნისადმი. იშვიათია ჩვენს დროში თანამედროვე მწერალი, რომელიც კითხვას აზიარებს სიბრძნეს, აცნობს კულტურას და ამდიდრებს სულიერად. ასევე იშვიათია პიროვნება ადამიანი, რომელთანაც შეხვედრა საუბარი უდრის ერთი კარგი წიგნის წაკითხვას. ასეთი პიროვნება გახლავთ ორხან ფამუკი. ამიტომ მინდა მას მივესალმო თქვენი სახელით და ამასთანავე დღეს ჩვენ გვაკისრია ძალიან სასიამოვნო მოვალეობა ბატონ ორხან ფამუკს ვირჩევთ თავისუფალი უნივერსიტეტის საპატიო პროფესორად. Your Excellency, welcome to Georgia, welcome to the Free University, and we are very much impressed by your masterpieces, and at the same time, we have nice occasion today to award. I'm honored to award by the name of the Free University, by the name of our university, honoris causa to Your Excellency.
With this cloth on and with this distinction, you will listen to me more seriously.
Any case.
Maybe I'll have a photo with this, with you.
You will have a photo.
Maybe I'll take a photo with you, the two of you.
Together.
Thank you so much. Now, maybe I'll take this off.
Well,
Okay. Now where is short
Shall I
introduction
speak
from the
here or shall I speak here?
just to
მოგესალმებით. მე გახლავართ ბაკურ სულაკაურის გაუნცელობის დირექტორი. ძალიან მიხარია რომ ამდენ კითხულს ხედავ დღეს ბატონ ორჰანის წიგნების, ჩვენი წიგნების. ძალიან მიხარია რომ ახალგაზრდები ასე არიან დაინტერესებული მისი შემოქმედებით. დარწმუნებული ვარ რომ დავიწყარი 1 საათი გელით. ძალიან მოკლედ გეტყვით ისტორიას თუ როგორ მოხდა ის რომ დღევანდელი შეხვედრა შედგა. დაახლოებით 2 წლის წინ ჩვენ გქონდა საუბარი დათო გორგილაძესთან, თქვენი უნივერსიტეტის წარმომადგენელთან. ჯერ კიდევ მაშინ დავიწყეთ საუბარი იმაზე, რომ მოგვეწვია სტუმრად ბატონი ორჰან ფამუქი. ძალიან დიდხანს გაგრძელდა ეს მოლაპარაკება. ჩვენი გამომცემლობა პირველი გამომცემლობაა საქართველოში, რომელმაც მისი პირველი რომანი თარგმნა და ჩვენ უკვე დღესდღეობით 5 წიგნი გვაქვს გამოცემული და მომავალშიც ვაპირებთ მისი წიგნების თარგმნას. შესაბამისად ძალიან ვიყავით დაინტერესებული რომ ეს მოწვევა შემდგარიყო, თუმცა ალბათ გესმით, მას შემდეგ რაც მწერალმა ნობელის პრემია მიიღო, ის მუდმივად დაკავებული იყო და საკმაოდ დროში გაგვეწელა ეს მოლაპარაკების პროცესი. ძალიან მიხარია რომ დღეს ჩვენ გვაქვს იმის საშუალება რომ მივესალმოთ მას, მოусმინოთ მას. დარწმუნებული ვარ რომ ყველა თქვენგანი მოისმენს ძალიან საინტერესო ლექციას, გაიგებს პასუხებს კითხვებზე და ასევე კითხვა-პასუხის შემდეგ თქვენ გექნებათ საშუალება მიიღოთ მისი ავტოგრაფი. გილოცავთ და ფიქრობ რომ ძალიან სასიამოვნოა დღეს ჩვენი შეხვედრა მწერალთან, რომელსაც ყველანი ასე დიდხანს ელოდით. Welcome, Mr. Pamuk. Congratulations with honorary causa. And I would like to, I very briefly would like to thank you for accepting our invitation. And welcome to Georgia again. Thank you.
Why do I do this? Okay. I'm very pleased and honored to be here. I'm grateful to Free University of Georgia for inviting me here first, and bestowing me with this great distinction, this honorary degree. I am also, I've never been a professor in my life till 2006. I wrote books for the pleasure of this as a professional writer. But after 2005, I began to teach at Columbia University regularly. Now I'm a professor there. I'm a chaired professor there, teaching on, only one semester to be able to be back in Turkey. I want to talk about what I teach there, because what I teach, these are the things that my mind is busy with. As I wrote in one of my books in Istanbul, actually I wanted to be a painter in early life and raised by my family to be a painter. Then I stopped painting at the age of 23 as I was studying architecture. I quit architectural school and stopped painting and immediately began writing novels. And almost for 38 years I am now writing novels. Some 8 years ago, international, European and American universities began asking me, would you teach in our university? And I accepted teaching Columbia University. And I am now very comfortable, very happy in a university environment. So I'm very happy being with you. Let me talk about what I teach at the university. I change courses. For a while I taught a course called Pictures and, popularly among the students, Pictures and Words, but a sort of a survey of connection between painting and literature, a sort of a history of relationship between painting and literature. They are, as you know, called sister arts, arts that perhaps aim at addressing the same poem, the same thing, moving human heart with pictures or with words. In that course, our syllabus was from starting with Plato to Borges. We followed what is picturely in literature and what is literary in art of the painting. Then I taught also other courses. I taught courses in literature, comparative literature. I gave seminars in, I gave a seminar called The Art of the Novel. It's essentially based on teaching Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, Stendhal, Henry James, Virginia Woolf, other writers. Then we will read some essential books and discuss them. Then I also occasionally teach also my books. My name is Red, which is also about painting, medieval and generally speaking Islamic painting. Then I also taught courses in history of relationship, sometimes based on my book Snow, Islam, Democracy, Secularism or Laicité, the relationship between political Islam and general trends like that. These are political subjects, especially in the United States. Then I also taught my other books in classes, Black Book, always opening the book from to subjects that it explores. My academic life is like this. I don't have a PhD, but since all the universities know this, they give me, thank you, very kindly, honorary degrees. So lots of members of my family, my brother, my cousins, they all have PhD. But since I'm a writer, I never had it. But late in life, I covered the distance. I'm happy about that, what you gave me. Thank you so much today. This is what I do at the university, but you don't have to ask me university questions. I'm open to all topics, even some politics, but not too much. Any questions? I'm ready for them.
Hi, I'll just try to moderate this session, so we're moving to the questions and answers, and the floor is open to questions. I'm sure there are plenty, so just feel free, and we'll try to provide answers. Okay. Questions? The gentleman there and the lady. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Maybe we need 2 microphones. Also, when someone is asking a question, just by the side, wave your hand. Maybe the microphone will come to you, so we don't waste time as one speaker stops.
So we have 2 speakers.
Merhaba.
Merhaba.
Nasılsınız?
Teşekkürler.
Çok teşekkür ederim bugün sizin buraya gelmek için. Çok mutlu oldum sizin görmek için. Şimdi bir sorum
Maybe, but you have to translate this to English, huh?
Bir sorum sormak
Maybe I'll
istiyorum.
translate your question. Yes, I'm all ears.
Tamam. Bir sorum sormak istiyorum. Yani her zaman sizin hayatınızda en istediğiniz bir şey söyleyebilir misiniz?
Kendin için mi?
Evet, sizin için en istediğiniz bir şey.
He is asking me a very magazine-like question, which I respect a lot, and it's like, what do you want most in life? And I'll tell you, a peaceful 9-hour sleep. Not because I'm troubled by problems, but just simply, it's, I think, hereditary. My father was also like that. I sleep 4 hours and I wake up, I have to read, do something, then again I sleep. I'm always envious of people who sleep like a child. It's not that I cannot fall asleep. I immediately, if I go to take a nap here, I can even start sleeping here. But in 20 minutes, I'm awake. I want to sleep continuously 9 hours, and I also want to remember my dreams. Then, you know, you wake up in your childhood and you mean, oh, I see, oh, you tell, this doesn't happen to me. I'm also sad about that.
Okay, wish you 9 hours sleep.
Thank you. With some dreams, yes.
Thank you, teşekkür ederiz.
Okay, the lady, you were going to ask questions.
Mr. Pamuk, nice to meet you. I'm interested in a little political thing. As it's announced, Vladimir Putin is nominated as a Nobel Peace Prize. And how would you concentrate on this thing as a Nobel Prize owner?
But I do not...
Including that fact that Georgia has been occupied by Russia in 2008 and Crimea's right now, currently, there's some Russian troops and other many things.
I see. I understand there is an anger here against Mr. Putin. I don't think he's going to get any prize. But then the subject is related to Nobel Peace Prize, which I don't know about, and I don't want to comment about, really. Okay.
Okay, nice. And one more, please.
One question at a time, yes.
We have to be limited to 1 question at a time. So.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
It's
Look,
in
you
the
have
same
to find
thing.
other people to ask questions.
Okay.
in
Yeah, we have to
between,
Thank
move.
you.
Okay. Other questions? The lady in the middle, please. The lady in the middle. Yeah. Go ahead.
Please, as someone asks a question, please neatly raise your hand so you will be the next one, and and the microphone comes to you.
The next
yes.
one is the
Okay.
lady in the middle.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for your books, for the pleasure I get while reading your books. And the question is as follows. In the 9th century novelists, we read that books are read either as the writer wants or as the reader wants. Your books are popular, and it's a fact, but do you think that your books are read as you want? Do you think that your readers can find this hidden center that you have put in your books?
Okay.
And the last question.
But let me ask...
yeah, it's the last one.
One question at a time, please.
Just kind of bit. Can I get the benefit of taking photo with you?
Sorry, I didn't...
the lady would like to take a picture with you.
okay, that's later. Okay,
not
sure.
really a question.
Sure,
request,
we'll do it afterwards. Okay, now the question is based on one of my books, which is a compilation of lectures I gave at Harvard University. The title was Naive and Sentimental Novelist. There I argued that that there are two kind of writers and actually readers. Naive writers or naive poets are the ones whose minds are not busy with technique, morality, this or that. They just write as if coming from God. They are not worried about technique and they are not self-conscious. Then there are the writers who are, and I'm also one of them, more modern, more worried, more troubled by morality, technique. They're more worried whether their text is addressing what he or she wants the readers think about. I am in these kind of writers or readers, I call them, this distinction is based on Friedrich Schiller's famous distinction between naive and sentimental poet, but it's also, I realize, that can be applied to fiction writers. Then I also, in those lectures, argued that each novel has a hidden center. That when we read a novel, we are searching for a hidden center, as if we are someone lost in a wood and looking for a meaning or for some place that we cannot reach. In a wood, you can see the trees one by one, but the general landscape, layout, plan of the wood is impossible to see. This is more or less how we feel when we are lost in the forest of the novel, that we are trying to understand why does this writer show us this whale or this city or this street or this character. We read and read and read and read, take more distance to reach this center, the meaning of the novel, the reason why this novel is written anyway. Sometimes we reach it, sometimes we don't. When I wrote that piece, I definitely knew that that book is for theoreticians, people who read theory, for students, but not for popular readers. Now, the popular reader also reads the book, more like a naive reader. The popular reader also asks these questions in a naive way. What's this book about? Why did Pamuk give 600 pages to this subject? What's happening here? Why is this character doing this and thinking this? What's the point all about this? Whether they are popular, whether they are most common readers or very sophisticated Harvard professors, they all, our minds all do these same things when we read novels. Then whether my most popular reader reaches the secret center that I argue that exists at the heart of the novels, I don't know. But of course, every reader, whether a popular reader, whether a reader with good education, or whether a good reader, everyone reads my novels in his or her way. And in fact, being a novelist is already believing in that, believing in multiple readers, believing in that there is not one interpretation. I'm not saying that all interpretations are possible, but I know from life that there is not one interpretation, and the writer should not be an authoritarian professor. No, you misunderstood my novel. I didn't mean that. I never say that everyone reads my novels in a different way. I am a professor just for the fun of it. I am a more serious fiction writer, which means that I respect the elasticity of the interpretation of the readers, my readers, popular or the most educated. Yes. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll take another question.
Yeah. Just a second. Could other people who have questions raise their hands in advance so that we know where to go? Just raise your hands. And okay, please.
Hello, Mr. Pamuk. I'm very glad to see you today. My question is connected to literature. What would be your advice to youngsters who are going to, or whose wish are to become a writer?
I always make this joke, but I won't pursue that joke. I always say that. A young person who wants to write books and needs advice from me, well, the first advice, don't take advice from old writers. But then, of course, they are frustrated, so you have to give some advice to be yourself. Just don't decide to be a writer because you enjoyed one book. If you're reading 100 books in 3 months and want to continue, you can be a writer. If you cannot go walk in a street and when you see a bookshop and cannot stop yourself and enter into it, then perhaps you may be a writer. Being a writer is a long, running a marathon, you know. You don't aim for one book, you aim for a whole life, for a whole set of novels. If I advise is that it's a long distance running. It's not one single shot. It's not one painting. It's not one beauty contest. It's not one marriage. It's a lot of things. It's a lifestyle. Prepare yourself for the failures. If you're enjoying writing, if you're enjoying being alone in a room and dreaming, and even beside that, you're filling pages and feeling happy with what you fill with your pages with, then you can be a writer. In fact, one of the reasons I managed to be a writer is that I was raised to be, by my family, to be a painter. That is, to be a solitary man doing his thing, like a boy playing with his toys. That's why I always use this metaphor. But on the other hand, if you need the company of other people, talking and laughing, smoking and going to movies, the sense of community, friends, chatting, giggling, you can't be a writer. This is what I think. I decided to be a writer because in the end I understood early in life. That is, I think, one of the good things that I did. That in early life I understood that I don't want to go to an office and give orders to people or take orders from my superiors. I realized that I don't want this in life. So what's left? Very little is left, actually. Then being a writer or being a painter is left. I like British poet Philip Larkin once said about being a librarian. If you don't want to, if you can't do all the things you want to do in your life and you realize you can't do them, and if you don't want to do a lot of things in life and you continue not to want to do them, the only thing you can be is a librarian, he said. And being a writer is also like that, but it's better than being a librarian. Borges was both a librarian and a writer, and there is a connection in between in the sense that you want that solitude. You are angry to people, and you know that if you work with them, you will not go back home happy. I need the company of other people, but not very much. Also, what was important for me, that early in life I decided that I want to live a life, even this small cubicle, little 1 meter room, but with my paper, with my pencil, and I thought this was important. I managed to make myself a writer because I thought living alone in a room was a satisfactory life. Still, more or less, I'm living alone in a room and writing, and I find this kind of life very satisfactory. If you find this satisfactory, now that you need an advice, if you find that happy living in a room alone, 40 years, I'm doing that almost for 40 years, then you can be a writer. Right. In the end, they will publish you. In the end, they will read you because you endured for 40 years. Yes.
I think we still have some time, so further questions, if any. I'm sure there are plenty, actually.
You're welcome. Unfortunately, I can't speak any Turkish, but I'm an Orientalist. Yes, professor of Iranian studies. And I'd like to ask you, one can feel in your novels that you think that differences between the West and East can't be overcome. And do you still think so? And don't you think that our Caucasian region could be a kind of bridge between two kinds of civilization?
I see.
Thank you.
Okay, first, I think now, I'm writing books for the last 40 years. In my early youth, I used to over-dramatize and make too many comparisons between belonging to Eastern civilization, West, East, West. In my early novels, I did this more than I would like to do it now. That say, my early novels were more busy with what at that time called problematics of East, West, books that were Edward Said's Orientalism, other books, West's impact on East, theories of identity, so forth and so on. My mind was very busy, but Turkish history was also very busy with these issues. Please don't forget that Turkey's place on the map, Turkey's history, as we all know, is that Turkey is located between Europe and Asia, and its history is also a history of intermingling and clash of East and West. So Turkish history, cultural history, Turkish politics is also made of this clash. So I took it seriously. Also, previous generation of many writers, the great Turkish writer Tanpınar, who influenced me, were also busy with these subjects. So in my early years, till I was 45, 50, my mind was more busy with East, West, clash, Orientalism, imperialism, whatever. My mind is less busy with these subjects in the last 10 years. Perhaps Turkey is now a richer, bigger, more stronger country. Anxiety of European influence is not that important anymore. And because of many, many other reasons, I am thinking less about what you reminded me as East-West identity problems. Thank you.
Further. The gentleman in the corner.
Hello. So I'm very interested about how do you feel when you finish each of your story? I mean, are you kind of relaxed or you are sad? Kind of?
Okay. Depending on, I understand your question. There are sections in a novel that you're so happy about, or moods that you discover as you write your novel, your story, whatever, that a sort of a catharsis happens. You're happy. What you thought about, in the end, you managed to put it in a paper even better than your dreams. That is a cathartic moment. You're happy, you're jumping, you're happy being a writer. But that these paragraphs, pages, are not necessarily at the end of a book. When you write a novel, it's 500 pages. My novels are comparably long, 500 pages, 400 pages. Then there are what they call serendipities. That is, some beauty comes that's not you planned. Then you're happy, you write it, you say, wow, thank God I'm a writer. Then there are times that you're not writing well, you're frustrated, maybe the subject that you thought about doesn't come out like that. Being a writer, being a professional writer is learning to manage these situations and your reactionary moods and managing them in such a way that you don't leave the pen out, or you don't be, oh, I can write so easily. That being a writer is also managing your moods to write that novel. My little theoretical thing is this, that for every novel I wrote, now that you gave an example for saying story, in fact, for every story we write, we have to change our character or our habits or our persona or our mind in such a way that we should be the right person to write book. Say I'm thinking of a novel set in, like My Name is Red, set in 1591's Istanbul. Then I have to change myself in a way to be able to write that novel in a fruitful, perfect way. So being a novelist is not a thing about sitting at this table and writing and managing yourself. Also managing your dreams, managing your character for that novel. When that novel ends, then you say, what next? Then read for that new one, prepare yourself for the new one. Yes, writing books is always dangerous in the sense that you can't write them, you're not happy, or sometimes you're very happy, but it never ends. That when I finish a story, when I finish a novel, I am already thinking about the next novel. When I finish a novel, I'm now thinking about publishing it. In first, I always publish my novels in Turkey. How will the publication say? What will my enemies say? What will these people say? What will other people who had liked my previous book will say? You always worry. It's part of the nature of being a writer. But then a shoe seller or a shoemaker is also, or anyone, a doctor is also worrying. Everyone is worried about his job. Yes.
The young lady in the corner. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Pamuk, you've just mentioned that Turkey has become increasingly stronger and important during the last decade. And how do you see the future of the Turkey? Like, do you think that the future of the Turkey lies with the EU? Because for me, Turkey is already very important, already very strong and the regional leader, sort of, and I can't see why would Turkey want to be in the EU. I think the Turkey
you can see or cannot see?
Cannot, because I think that Turkey should become Europeanized and more liberal on its own terms and continue to be the regional power without the EU. So do you see Turkey's future in the EU, or do you see Turkey's future on its own? And do you think that Turkey needs EU or the other way around? Thanks.
A good question. I was 10 years ago, I was very busy promoting Turkey in its negotiations with EU. Turkish intellectuals who believed the idea that Turkey should join EU, and I was one of them. I also wrote articles about that. That when I promoted my books, and sometimes only for that occasion, I went to various European countries and to promote that idea. It was a political idea in many ways, not internationally only in Turkish-European relation, but also in Turkish politics. Defenders of Turkey's entry and negotiations with European Union were arguing that this will be, first, good for Turkish legal system, economical system, more importantly, for Turkish political system because of European standards of free speech, human rights, respect for minorities, so forth and so on. So the argument then was a bit utilitarian. Well, let's have European Union, so all these institutions, free speech, respect for minorities, full democracy, army should not be involved, we will have with the help of European Union. And partly this worked. European Union get involved. Turkish governments who were negotiating with them, okay, you're saying this criteria, that criteria, let's implement them, so we will negotiate. This negotiation process was also helpful in economy, because at that time people began to say, well, Turkish economy is getting a decent economy, so let's make investments, international money lenders begin to do it. It worked for a while. But then, first thing, there was a resistance in Europe, there was a resistance in conservative Turkey, and there was a resistance in anti-European and nationalist sentiment in Turkey, and nationalist sentiment in Europe. It was not, first of all, politically working. It was not, Turkey was not getting there. Then after probably after 2010s, Europe began to be troubled by its own euro problems, this problem, that problem. Then Turkey began to get more authoritarian and more nationalist because of Cyprus, because of Kurdish issue. So there was a cooling of the relationship. Now, Europe and Turkey is not a hot subject anymore. Turkey's dreams of, or people like me, and I'm not the only person, millions of people in Turkey believe in joining European Union, but it's not easy now. But if you ask my sentiment, I'm not crying. Europe is busy with its own problems. Turkey is even busier with its worst problems in its history. So not much is happening in that direction. Once in a while, either from Turkey or either from European Union, some person say, oh, let's heat it up, let's cheat it up, let's start again. But it doesn't work because both sides are busy with their internal problems. Okay, maybe another question.
Yeah, just two more questions, I think, and we have to finish there. Nino, please, and the lady on the left.
Welcome to Georgia. I would like to know if there is any character from a movie or a book that inspires you always and that inspires your books. Thank you.
For me, the greatest novelists are Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Thomas Mann, Marcel Proust. These are the great writers, novelists who are I put on a pedestal. I teach them. I try to, my work are inspired by them. Then there are also others, Calvino, Borges, Nabokov, Eco, many, many others from whom I've learned so much. Then I learned a lot from painting because I wanted to be a painter. Movies, wow, there's no end to learning from movies. I love movies, but there's no end to it. I like Truffaut, I like Fellini, I like Scorsese now, David Lynch, someone was just talking about him. So many directors. In my 20s, when there was no DVD, no video, no nothing, I used to go from one consulate, from consulates, because they showed you European movies. Say you go to German consulate, watch German movies, French consulate, French. And that was the only way you can watch these movies because television was also, there was no television or very weak. So I am a follower of the great art of the cinema. I've learned so much. I can't think of an intellectual or a writer or anyone without cinema. It's also some ethic, some you just sit someplace and wait and some magic will happen and it happens. And it's also you're passive. It's just coming out, it's just entertaining your eyes first. Novels are harder, so you have to enter a novel. You have to give an effort, enter into the world of the novel. Who is this character? Is this his cousin? Why are they fighting? You ask this. But in a movie, you don't even ask, because movies are making you enjoy what you see by the way they are designed, by the pictures. So, maybe I'll take another question.
Right, and the final question goes to you.
Thank you very much. It's a big honor to have you in Tbilisi. I don't know if I'm allowed to take the floor. I'm the Italian ambassador in town. And so welcome also from the Italian side. I am used to...
Maybe I'll take a picture of you. Now that she's an ambassador. Yes.
I am more used to deal with Turkey as international power and main actor of the region to deal with my Turkish colleague, but actually I don't know Turkey and the Turkish society enough. So I just would like to ask you if you can say a few words about how you can define the Turkish communities nowadays. How, for example, individuals are free from moral fear of God, and in general, how do you see, is it mature or not?
It's really, you would understand immediately if I ask you, how would you define Italy in one sentence? You will be troubled. Of course, countries change, and when you make a generalization that fast, I would say that it's not as mysterious as others say. It's a normal country. It's a country I love. It's a country I spent all my life in, and especially in Istanbul. How can I say, how can I reduce it? It's like reducing your life to a thing. But I'm felt honored by your question in the sense that, even for us Turks, it's sometimes hard to understand that, we understand, sometimes we think we understand our country, then when we try to express it to others, we don't sure that we have understood it enough. Now the country in the last 3-4 months especially is highly politically troubled, scandalously so. But then I've seen so much in my life. I also have learned to take everything in a cool way. But then it's trying to sum up your country, trying to say something general about it. I can only express my sentiments, that I belong there, that I like it, that it's a sort of a fate for me, that I cannot think about, that I belong it so deeply because that I write in Turkish, that Turkish is a sort of blood to me or whatever, and then whatever happens, also language goes into it. But it's like saying, can you just in one sentence sum up your novels? And I cannot, but I wish I can. All right.
წიგნების ხელმოწერა შედგება ძალიან შეზღუდული რაოდენობით ბიბლიოთეკის დარბაზში. მადლობა. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Evet, tanıdım sizi. Ben sizi Google'da